somebody pops into the live soon, could they tell me if the audio is working? Because last time I tried to read on at Jubilee's 11, um, went 10 more chapters, and then I guess the audio didn't even work. There's nobody in there yet. Oh, shit. Well, let's hope this works. Got 15 minutes until the space starts, so let's see if we could get past what I read to you before. And yeah, the audio actually works. In the 35th Jubilee, in the third week, in the first thereof, Ru took to himself a wife, and her name was Orah, the daughter of the son of Kesad, and she bore him a son. And he called his name Sarai. In the 7th year of this week in this Jubilee, and the sons of Noah began to war on each other, to take captive and to slay each other, and to shed the blood of men on the earth, and to eat blood, and to build strong cities and walls and towers, and individuals began to exalt themselves above the nation, and to found the beginnings of kingdoms, and to go to war, people against people, and nation against nation, and city against city, and all began to do evil, and to acquire arms, and to teach their sons war. And they began to capture cities and to sell men servants and maid servants. So they started going against dietary laws, and then they started killing each other, and yeah. Some sons of Noah went against the bounds, against the inheritance, and sorry, it's been a while since continuing on here. Whoever's viewing, could they let me know if the audio is working? If you're if you're a lurker or an ass puppet, you might not be able to help yourself but to say something stupid. Could you hear what I'm saying though? Is the audio working? All right. Well, people against people, and nation against nation, city against city, and all began to do evil and to acquire arms and teach their sons war, and they began to capture cities and sell men servants and maid servants. And the son of Kesad built the city of Era of the Chaldees, and called its name after his own name and the name of his father. And they made molten images for themselves, and they each worshipped the idol, the molten image which they had made for themselves, and they began to make graven images and unclean statues. And malevolent spirits assisted and seduced them into committing transgression and uncleanliness. So that's very Romans 1, Ezekiel 14, Psalms 81 goes in line with those warnings. They go out to those doing Christmas and Easter and paganism and idolatry, wearing crosses and all that. And they made, in verse 4, and they made molten images for themselves, and they each worshipped the idol, the molten image which they had made for themselves, and they began to make graven images and unclean. Somebody commented and let me know if the audio is working. Is it working? Check. Oh. Is that like 3 lurkers, or is the audio not working? All right. And they made molten images for themselves, and they each worshipped the idol, the molten image which they had made for themselves, and they began to make graven images and unclean statues, Here's some of the consequences there. And malevolent spirits assisted and seduced them into committing transgression and uncleanliness. And the prince Mastema exerted himself to do all this, and he sent out other spirits, those which were put under his hand, to do all manner of wrong and sin and all manner of transgression, to corrupt and destroy, and to shed blood on the earth. Should have just not went into idolatry. Should have his wife's mother, and he worshipped idols, and he took to himself a wife in the 36th Jubilee in the 5th week in the 1st year thereof, and her name was Milcah, the daughter of Keber, the daughter of his father's brother, and she bore him Nahor in the 1st year of this week, and he grew and dwelt in Ur of the Chaldees. His father taught him the research of the Chaldees to divine and portend according to the signs of the heavens. And in the 37th Jubilee, in the 6th week in the 1st year thereof, he took to himself a wife, and her name was Ijaska, the daughter of Netzeg of the Chaldees, and she bore him Terah in the 7th year of this week. And the prince Mastema sent ravens and birds to devour the seed which was sown in the land, in order to destroy the land and rob the children of men of their labors. Before they could plow in the seed, the ravens picked it from the surface of the ground. That sounds like that parable of the seed sower. The devil goes and takes the seed, and then they're fruitless, right? It's like before they could plow the birds, and they devoured all the fruit of the trees. From the trees, it was only with great effort they could save a little of the fruit of the earth in their days. And in this 39th Jubilee in the 2nd week in the 1st year, Terah took to himself a wife, and her name was Edna, the daughter of Abram, the daughter of his father's sister. And in the 7th year of this week, she bore him a son, and he called his name Abram, by the name of the father of his mother. For his after uncleanliness, and his father taught him writing, and he has 2 weeks of years old, and he separated himself from his father, that he might not worship idols, that his portion should not fall into error after uncleanliness and vileness. And the seed time came for the sowing of seed on the land, and they all went out together to protect their seed against the ravens. And Abram went out with those that went, and the child was a youth of 14 years, and a cloud of ravens came to devour the seed, and Abram ran to meet them before they settled on the ground, and cried to them before they settled on the ground to devour the seed, and said, "Do not descend, return to the place where you came." And they proceeded to turn back, and he caused the clouds of ravens to turn back that day 70 times. And of all the ravens throughout all the land where Abraham was there settled, there was there not so much as one. And all who were with him throughout all the land saw him cry out, and all the ravens turned back, and his name became great in all the land of the Chaldees. And there came to him this year all those that wished to sow, and he went with them until the time of sowing ceased. And they sowed their land, and that year they brought enough grain home and ate and were satisfied. And in the 1st year of the 5th week, Abram taught those who made implements for oxen, the craftsmen in wood, and they made a vessel above the ground facing the frame of the plow, in order to put the seed thereon, and seed fell down from that on the share of the plow. It's working? Okay, praise, yeah, thanks, brother. It's working. Okay. In order to put the seed thereon, and the seed fell down from that on the share of the plow, and was hidden in the earth, and they no longer feared the ravens. And after this manner they made vessels above the ground on all the frames of the plows, and they sowed and tilled all the land according as Abraham commanded them, and they no longer feared the birds. All right, chapter 12. Do you want to do chapter 12, Adriana?
Yeah, I can read it.
Okay. Yeah, we already read these. You read some, like, I think you read chapters 17, 20. Here. Adriana?
Yeah.
Here.
Chapter 12?
Yeah, watch if the battery thing goes up. Maybe plug it. I don't want to mess it up, though. It shouldn't mess it up if I plug it into the power supply.
Okay.
I'll just read a bit and then pop on again after the space. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we just read it?
Yeah, chapter 12.
And it came to pass in the 6th week in the 7th year thereof that Abram spoke to his father Terah, saying, Father, and he said, Behold, here I am, my son. Do not worship them, worship the God. Corey.
Huh?
That's Lilian.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, that's your sister's.
Worship the God of heaven, who causes the rain and dew to descend on the earth, and does everything on the earth. Worship things that have no spirit in them. For they are the work of men's hand, and you bear them on your shoulders, and you have no people who have made me to serve before them. And if I tell them the truth, they will slay me, for their soul cleaved to them to worship them and honor them. Keep silent, my son, lest they slay you. And he spoke these words to his 2 brothers, and they were angry with to himself a wife in the 3rd year of the 3rd week. And she bore him a son in the 7th year of this week, and he called his name Lot. And his brother Nahor took to himself a wife. And in the 60th year of the life of Abram, that is, in the 4th week in the 4th year thereof, Abram rose by night and burned the house of the idols, and he burned all that was in the house, and no man knew it. And they arose in the night and sought to save their gods from the midst of the fire. And Haran tried to save them, but the fire flamed over him, and he was burned in the fire, and he died in Ur of the Chaldees before his father Terah. And they buried him in Ur of the Chaldees. And Terah went out from Ur of the Chaldees, he and his son, to go into the land of Lebanon on the new moon of the 7th month, to observe the stars from the evening to the morning, in order to see what the nature lines of the stars and the signs of the moon and of the sun are all in the hand of the Lord. Why do I search them out? If he desires, he causes it to rain morning and evening, and if he desires, he withholds it, and all things are in his hand. And he prayed that night and said, My God, God Most High, you alone are my God, and I have chosen you and your dominion, and you have created all things, and all things that exist are the work of your hands. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's heart, and do not let them lead me astray from you, my God, and establish me and my seed forever, so that we do not go astray from now and forevermore. And he said, Will I return to Ur of the Chaldeans, who seek my face, that I may return to them? Or am I to remain here in this place? The right path before you, prosper it in the hand of your servant, that you may fulfill it, and that I may not walk in the deceit from your country and from your relatives and from your house of your father to a land which I will show you. And I will make you a great and numerous nation, and I will bless you, and I will make your name great, and you will be blessed in the earth, and all the families of the earth will be blessed in you. And I will bless them that bless you, and curse them that curse you. And I will be God to you and your son, and to your son's son, and to all your seed. Do not fear from now, and to all generations of the earth I am your God. And the Lord God said, Open his mouth and his ears, that he may hear and speak with his mouth with the language which he has revealed. For it has ceased from the mouth of all children of men from the days of the overthrow of Babel. I opened his mouth and his ears and his lips, and I began to speak with him in Hebrew, in the tongue of the creation. And he took the scroll of his father, and these were written in Hebrew, and he transcribed them, and he began from them on to study them. And I made note to him that which he could not understand, and he studied them during the 6 rainy months. And it came to pass in the 7th year, on the 6th week, that he spoke to his father and informed him that he would leave Haran to go into the land of Canaan, to see it and then return to him. And his father Terah said to him, Go in peace. May the perpetual God make your path straight, and the Lord be with you and protect you from all evil, and grant grace, mercy, and favor to you before those who see you. And may none of the children of men have power over you to harm you. Go in peace. And if you see a land pleasant to your eyes to dwell in, then arise and take me to you, and take Lot, the son of your brother Haran, with you as your own son. The Lord be with you. And leave your brother Nahor with me until you return in peace, and we all go with you together. You want me to keep reading?
You could if you want.
Okay.
Did another battery warning come up? Hold on, if there's still do you want to...
Chapter 12. Chapter 13?
Yeah.
Okay.
They might not have much time. That'd be for space anyways.
Careful with your sister. Careful.
Oh, come on. My goodness, this phone. Trying to get it Come on. Trying to get the phone to stay charging and stay put while oh, I don't have to put my face there right now. I could just put it like how The talking heads aren't important. What's being talked about is the message is more important than the messenger. Okay. If my brother's still here, let me know if the sound's still working after I was fiddling around trying to get this thing charging. Chapter 13, right? Okay. All right. And Abraham journeyed from Haran, and he took his wife Sarai and Lot, his brother Haran's son, to the land of Canaan, and he came into Ashur and proceeded to Shechem and dwelt near a lofty oak. And he saw, and behold, the land was very pleasant from the entering of Hamath to the lofty oak. And Yah said to him, and he left from there to the mountain the mountain with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east, and pitched his tent there. And he saw, and behold, the land was very wide and good, and everything grew thereon, vines and figs and pomegranates. Will not forsake him all the days of his, and he will not forsake him all the days of his. And he left from there and went toward the south and came to Hebron, and Hebron was built at that time, and he dwelt there 2 years. And he went into the land of the south to Bealoth, and there was a famine in the land, and Abraham went into Egypt in the 3rd year of the week, and he dwelt in Egypt 5 years before his wife was torn away from him. Now Tanis zone in Egypt was at that time built 7 years house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abraham's wife. And Abram was very glorious by reason of possessions and sheep and cattle and donkeys and horses and camels and men servants and maid servants and an exceeding silver and gold. And Lot also his brother's son and Bethel on the west, and he blessed Yah his creator who had brought him back in peace. And it came to pass in the 41st Jubilee in the 3rd year of the week, the first week, that he returned to this place and offered a burnt sacrifice there and called on the name of Yah and said, You are the most high God of my God forever and ever. And in the 4th year of this week, Lot parted from him, and Lot dwelt in Sodom, and the men of Sodom were sinners exceedingly, and it grieved him in his heart that his brother's son had parted from him, for he had no children. In that year when Lot was taken captive, and Yah said to Abram after Lot had parted from him in the 4th year of will give to you and to your seed forever, and I'll make your seed as the sand of the sea. Though a man may number the dust of the earth, yet your seed will not be numbered. King of Selser and Tergel, king of nations, came and slew the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Sodom fled. And many threw wounds in the valley of Siddim by the salt sea, and they took Sodom and Adam and Zeboim captive, and they took Lot captive, also the son of Abram's brother, and all his possessions, and they went to Dan. And one who had escaped came and told Abram that his brother's son had been taken captive, and Abram armed his household servants for Abram and for his seed, a tenth of the first fruits to have rescued, but let the plunder be yours. And Abram said to him, I lift up my hands to the Most High God, and from a thread to a shoe strap I will and Er, Eshcol, and Mamre. These will take their portion. Get some water here, hopefully. Okay, sounds good. Thank you, brother. Good reading. Got take a little bit under out. Do you want to get the next one again? You gotta read loud because it's charging there. You just gotta. It's 6:33 last time I checked. So just sit there and you don't have to put your face on there because it's charging right now. Just read chapter 14.
After what? 14?
Just gonna see if it's still charging. It's 6:40 right now, so we got like 20 minutes.
Alright, chapter 14. After these things, in the 4th year this week, on the new moon of the 3rd month, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a dream, saying, Do not fear, Abram. I am your defender, and your reward will be exceedingly great. And he said, Lord Yah, will my hearer, and to me you have not given seed. And he said to him, This man will not be your hearer, but one that will come out of your own bowels, he will be your hearer. And he brought him abroad and said to him, Look, I brought you out of Ur of the Chaldees to give you the land of the Canaanites to possess it forever. And I will be God to you and to your seed after you. And he said, Lord Yah, whereby will I know that I will inherit it? And he said to him, Take me a heifer of 3 years, and a goat of 3 years, and a sheep of 3 years, and a turtle dove, and a pigeon. And he took all these in the middle of the month, and he dwelt at the oak of Mamre, which is near Hebron. And he built an altar there and sacrificed all these, and he poured their blood on the altar and divided them in the midst and laid them over against each other. But he did not divide the birds. And birds came down on the pieces, and Abram drove them away and did not permit the birds to touch them. And it came to pass when the sun had set that an ecstasy fell on Abram, and behold, a horror of darkness fell on him. And it was said to Abram, Know for sure that your seed will be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and they will bring them into bondage and afflict them 400 years. And the nation to whom they will be in bondage I will also judge, and after that they will come out from there with much substance. And you will go to your fathers in peace and be buried in a good old age. But in the fourth generation they will return here, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. And he awoke from his sleep, and he arose, and the sun had set, and there was a flame, and behold, a furnace was smoking, and a flame of fire passed between the pieces. And on that day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, to your seed I will give this land, from the rivers of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates, the Canaanites, the Kenizzites, the Camarites. And that day passed, and Abram offered the pieces and the birds and their fruit offerings and their drink offerings, and the fire devoured them. And on that day we advised her husband Abram and said to him, go in to Hagar, my Egyptian maid. It may be that I will build up seed to you. But gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. And he went in to her, and she conceived and bore him a son, and he called his name Ishmael. In the 5th year of this week, and this was the 86th year in the life of Abram. And in the 5th year, this is chapter 15 now, and in the 5th year of the 4th week of this Jubilee, in the 3rd month, in the middle of the month, Abram celebrated the celebration of the first fruits of the grain harvest, and he offered new offerings on the altar. The first fruits of the produce to the Lord, a heifer and a goat and a sheep on the altar as a burnt sacrifice to the Lord. Their fruit offerings and their drink offerings he offered on the altar with frankincense. And the Lord appeared to Abram and said to him, I am God Almighty. Approve yourself before me and be perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and you, and I will multiply you exceedingly. Then Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him and said, behold, my ordinance is with you, and you will be the father of many nations. Neither will your name be called Abram anymore, but your name from now on, even forever, will be Abraham. For I have made you the father of many nations, and I will make you very great, and I will make you into nations, and kings will come out from you. And I will establish my covenant between me and you and your seed after you throughout their generations, for a perpetual covenant, so that I may be a God to you and to your seed after you. And I will give to you and to your seed after you the land where you have been a sojourner, the land of Canaan, that you may possess it forever. And I will be their God. And the Lord said to Abraham, and as for you, keep my covenant, you and your seed after you, and circumcise every male amongst you, and circumcise your foreskins, and it will be a token for a perpetual covenant between me and you. And you will circumcise the child on the 8th day, every male throughout your generations. Him that is born in the house of whom you have bought with money from any stranger whom you have acquired, who is not of your seed. He that is born in your house will surely be circumcised, and those whom you have bought with money will be circumcised. And my covenant will be in your flesh for a perpetual ordinance. And the uncircumcised male who is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin on the 8th day, that soul will be cut off from his people, for he has broken my covenant. And God said to Abraham, as for Sarai, your wife, her name will no longer be Sarai, but Sarah will be her name. And I will bless her and give you a son by her. And I will bless him, and he will become a nation, and kings of nations will proceed from him. And Abraham fell on his face and rejoiced, and said in his heart, will a son be born to him that is 100 years old? And will Sarah, who is 90 years old, bring out? And Abraham said to God, oh, that Ishmael might perpetual covenant for his seed after him. And as for Ishmael, I have also heard you, and behold, I will bless him and make him great. I establish my covenant with Isaac, whom Sarah will bear to you in these days in the next year. And he left off speaking with him, and God went up from Abraham, and Abraham did generations forever. And there is no circumcision of the days, and no omission of one day out of the 8 days, for it is a perpetual ordinance, ordained and written on the heavenly tablets. And every one that is born, the flesh of whose foreskin is not circumcised on the 8th day, does not belong to the children of the Lords, but he is destined to be destroyed and slain from the earth, and to be rooted out of the earth. For he has broken the covenant of the Lord our God. For all the messengers of the presence, and all the messengers of sanctification have been so created from the day of their creation, and before the messengers of the presence and the messengers of sanctification. He has sanctified Israel that they should be with him and with his holy messengers, and command the sons of Israel, and let them observe the sign of this covenant for their generation. They should observe it forever amongst all the sons of Israel. For Ishmael and his son and his brothers and Esau, the Lord did not cause to approach, but he did not choose them because they are the children of Abraham, because he knew them. But he chose Israel to be his people, and he sanctified it and gathered it from amongst all the children of men. For there are many nations and many peoples, and all are his, and over all he has placed spirits in authority to lead them astray from him. But over Israel he did not appoint any messenger or spirit, for he alone is a ruler, and he will preserve them and require them at the hand of his messengers and his spirits, and at the hand of all his powers, in order that he may preserve them and bless them, and that they may be his and he may be theirs, from now on and forever. And now I announce to you that the sons of Israel will not keep true to this ordinance, and they will not circumcise their sons according to all this law. For in the flesh of the circumcision they will omit the circumcision of their sons, and of all of them, sons of Belial, will leave their sons uncircumcised as they were born. And there will be great wrath from the Lord against the sons of Israel, because they have forsaken his covenant and turned aside from his word, and provoked and blasphemed, inasmuch as they do not observe the ordinances of this law. For they have treated their members like the nations, so that they may be removed and rooted out of the land. And there will no longer be pardon or forgiveness to them for all the sin of this continuous error. All right. That was chapter 14 and 15.
You want to keep reading? No? Huh?
Angel needs water.
He needs water? Okay. There you go, buddy. Shit.
All right. $16? Okay. And on the new moon of the 4th month, we appeared to Abraham at the oak of Mamre, and we talked with him, and we announced to him that a son would be given to him by his wife Sarah. And Sarah laughed, for she heard that we had spoken these words with Abraham. Then we admonished her, and she became afraid and denied that she had laughed on account of the words. And we told her the name of her son, as his name Isaac is ordained and written in the heavenly tablets, and that when we returned to her at a set time, she would have conceived a son. And in this month, Yah executed his judgments on Sodom and Gomorrah and Zeboim and all the region of the Jordan, and he burned them with fire and brimstone and destroyed them until this day, even as I declared to the uncleanliness of the Sodomites, like to the judgment of Sodom. But we saved Lot, for Yah remembered Abraham and sent him from Hebron, and departed and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur in the mountains of Gerar. And in the middle of the 5th month he moved from there and dwelt at the well of the oath. In the middle of the 6th month, Yah visited in the middle of the month at the time of which Yah had spoken to Abraham. On the festival of the first fruits of the harvest, Isaac was born, and Abraham circumcised his son on the 8th day. He was the first that was circumcised according to the covenant which is ordained forever. And in the 6th year of the land she would have conceived a son. And we returned in the 7th month and found Sarah with child before us, and we blessed him and among the nations. For he should become the portion of the Most High, and all his seed had fallen into the possession, and priests and a holy nation. And we went out our way, and we announced to Sarah all that had told. 7 rams, 7 kids, 7 rams, 7 kids, 7 sheep, and 7 male goats, and their fruit offerings and their drink offerings. And he burned all the fat thereof on the altar, and galbanum, and staked, and nard, and myrrh, and spice, and costume. All these 70 offered crushed, mixed together in equal parts, and pure. And he celebrated this feast during 7 days, rejoicing with all his heart and with all his soul, he and all those who were in his house, and there was no stranger with him, nor any that was uncircumcised. And he blessed his Creator, who had created him in his generation, for he had created him according to his good pleasure. For he knew and perceived that from him would arise the plant of righteousness for the continuous generations, and from him a holy seed, so that it should become like the Most High God. And we blessed him forever, and all his seed after him throughout all the generations of the earth, because he celebrated this festival, and that they will celebrate the celebration of shelters for 7 days with joy in the seventh month, acceptable before Yah, a statute forever. Celebrate it and dwell in shelters, and set wreaths on their heads, and take leafy boughs and willows from the brook. And Abraham took branches of palm trees and the fruit of attractive trees, and every day going around the altar with the branches 7 times a day. In the morning he praised and gave thanks to Yah for all things in joy. And remember, in this book of Jude, the calendar was taken away, and Deuteronomy 12 and 16. So, brothers and sisters, look forward to doing the feast in purity again. We're in profane lands surrounded by idolatry, and to go and do the feast presumptuously, to try to do that, thinking the calendar, and there's many calendar pissing contests, and Jubilees shows more. Deuteronomy 12 and 16, Isaiah 65 and 66, read those too. It's a big no-no to be going into rebellion, which is as the sins of witchcraft. You're supposed to find your lost brothers and sisters, so they the heart. So I think maybe this book will get into Hagar a little bit, if it's talking about Abraham, the bondwoman and her son. You want to come into the covenants of promise so that you're not under sacrificial law. People will talk about keeping the 10 Commandments as if it's the law. There was the handwriting of Moses. Yeshua said, if I cast out demons by the faith, the covenants of promise, and then you could receive the spirit of truth. Anyways, I'm going to read chapter 17 here quickly. And rejoiced and blessed Yah, because he had seen his sons that had not died childless. And he remembered the words which he had spoken to him on the day on which Lot had parted from him, and he rejoiced because Yah had given him seed on the earth to inherit the earth. And he blessed the Creator of all things with his mouth. It's grafted in the covenant, grafted into the commonwealths of Israel. And I've asked a lot of people, what are the covenants of promise? Instead I've tried to not yell at people for their lawlessness as much, if there's lawlessness, as much, if there's more time for them to repent before the sixth seal. Keep his commandments, and his commandments are not burdensome. This is the love of God. And Sarah saw Ishmael playing and dancing, and Abraham rejoicing with great joy. And she became jealous of Ishmael, and said to Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman will inherit with my son Isaac. And the thing was grievous in Abraham's sight because of his maidservant and because of his son, that he should drive them from him. And Yah said to Abraham, do not let it be grievous in your sight because of the child and because of the bondwoman, and all that Sarah has said to you, the bondwoman, and all that Sarah has said to you. Listen to her words and do them, for in Isaac will her name and seed be called. But as for the son of this bondwoman, I'll make him a great nation because he is of your seed. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and took the death of my child. And as she sat she wept. And a messenger of Yah, one of the holy ones, said to her, "Why do you weep, Hagar? Arise, take the child and hold him in your hand, for Yah has heard your voice and has seen the child." And she opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she filled her bottle with water, and she gave her child to drink. And she arose and went to the wilderness of Paran, and the child grew and became an archer, and Yah was with him. And his mother took a wife for him from among the daughters of Egypt, and she bore him a son, and he called his name Naboth, for she said, "Yah was near to me when I called on him." And it came to pass in the 7th week, in the 1st year thereof, in the 1st month, in this Jubilee, on the 12th of this month, there were 12th of this month, there were voices in heaven regarding Abraham, and he was faithful in all that he told him, and that he loved Yah, and that in every affliction he was faithful. And the princes Mastema came and said before Yah, "Behold, Abraham loves his son Isaac, and he delights in him above all other things. Command him to offer him as a burnt offering on the altar, and you will see if he will do this command, and you'll know if he is faithful in everything wherein you try him." And Yah knew that Abraham was faithful in all his afflictions, for he had tried him through his country and with famine, and had tried him with the wealth of kings, and had tried him again through his wife when she was torn from him, and with circumcision, and had tried him through Ishmael and Hagar, his maidservant, when he sent them away. And in everything wherein he had tried him, he was found faithful, and his soul was not impatient, and he was not slow to act, for he was faithful and a lover of Yah. Praise Yah. All right, space time, and yeah, I haven't posted much, I don't think, on the community section. So scroll down and watch my brothers and sisters' videos from straightasthegate.net, and get into covenant before the 6th seal, and yeah, check out the spaces, and praise Yah.